You're not going to believe what happened to me last week. Imagine walking out of your own home, coffee in hand, ready to head to work, only to see flashing police lights outside. At first, you think maybe it's a neighbor in trouble, until you realize they're here because of you. And the kicker? The person who called them is standing smugly at the end of your driveway, arms crossed, wearing that self-satisfied smirk you've seen far too many times. Yep, Karen from the HOA. She had decided that today was the day she was going to put me in my place by calling 911 over my own driveway. What she didn't know, what made this entire situation spiral into pure poetic justice, is that I am a police officer. And this wasn't going to go the way she thought. It started a few weeks ago when Karen began complaining that my driveway was too close to her property line. She'd make a point of standing there when I parked, muttering about HOA regulations and how I was bringing down property values. I tried to be patient. You learn patience on the job, but she pushed it further every day. First, she sent an email to the HOA board. Then she left a typed letter on my windshield, dripping with passive-aggressive comments about community standards. I ignored them, thinking this was just another one of her petty crusades. But Karen wasn't letting it go. The night before the big incident, I came home late after a shift, parked my car in my usual spot, and noticed her blinds twitch. She was watching. I didn't think much of it until the next morning, when I walked outside and saw her with her phone in hand, pacing at the curb, glancing toward me and talking loudly into it. I caught words like trespassing and illegal obstruction. My first thought was, she's really calling the cops over this? My second thought was, this is about to be the most awkward traffic stop of her life. A few minutes later, 2 patrol cars rolled up. I recognized both officers. I'd trained with one of them years ago. They stepped out, looking slightly confused. One of them leaned in and said quietly, you know she called saying someone's illegally blocking her driveway, right? I couldn't help but grin. Yeah, I said, and that someone is me, at my house. What happened next would turn Karen's smug smirk into the reddest shade of embarrassment I've ever seen. As soon as the officers walked up to her, Karen launched into a full-blown performance. She pointed dramatically at my driveway, claiming that I had built it illegally and that it encroached onto her property. She even tried to tell them my car was parked to intimidate her. The whole time, I just stood there, arms folded, watching like I was in the audience of a bad reality TV show. Ma'am, one of the officers asked, are you saying this man is blocking your driveway? Yes, she snapped. He's doing it on purpose. I've reported this to the HOA multiple times, but he just ignores me. I want him cited, or towed if necessary. I could see the officers exchange a glance. One of them looked at me and asked, Sir, can I see some ID? That's when I decided to end this circus. I reached into my back pocket and pulled out my badge. Karen's voice caught mid-sentence. Her eyes flicked from the badge to my face, and then to the officers, as if she was trying to calculate her next move. You're a police officer? She stammered. Yes, ma'am, I replied. And as a police officer, I can tell you, you've just wasted police resources over a driveway you have no legal claim to. The officers then explained to her, in no uncertain terms, that my driveway was entirely within my property lines and fully compliant with city regulations. I'd even had it surveyed and documented years ago. One of them added, calling 911 for non-emergencies is actually a crime. It ties up emergency resources that could be helping people who truly need it. Karen's face went pale. She tried to laugh it off, saying she didn't know and that she was just following HOA guidance. But the officers weren't having it. They gave her a stern verbal warning, noting that if she pulled a stunt like this again, she could be fined or even face charges for filing a false report. That's when I thought it was over. But oh no, Karen wasn't done yet. Over the next few days, Karen doubled down. Instead of backing off, she started making my life more difficult in little ways. She left notes on my mailbox claiming my grass was a quarter-inch too tall. She complained to the HOA about my porch light being too bright. At one point, she even accused my wife of harassing her because she waved while walking the dog. It was ridiculous, like she was on some personal mission to wear me down. But here's the thing. I've dealt with people like Karen in my line of work before, and I know the best way to handle them isn't to get angry. It's to get meticulous. So I started documenting everything. Every note, every comment, every petty complaint I kept in a folder. I even installed a security camera that covered the entire driveway, making sure I had undeniable proof in case she tried something again. Sure enough, it didn't take long. One morning, I caught her on camera stepping onto my property with a measuring tape, taking photos and muttering to herself. That was all the evidence I needed. I sent the footage straight to the HOA board. And let's just say they weren't thrilled about one of their members trespassing and stirring up trouble. The board called an emergency meeting. Karen showed up, still trying to play the victim, claiming she feared for her safety because of police intimidation. But when they played the security footage showing her walking confidently onto my property, tape measure in hand, the room went silent. One board member asked her, flat out, "Do you realize you're the one breaking the rules here?" She didn't answer. She just grabbed her purse and stormed out. You'd think that would be the end of it. But the real justice came a few weeks later. The HOA sent me a letter formally apologizing for Karen's behavior, along with confirmation that she'd been removed from her position on the HOA's compliance committee. They also issued her an official notice warning that any future harassment or false claims would result in immediate fines and possible legal action. The best part? Karen now avoids me completely. She won't even make eye contact when I'm outside. If I'm working in the yard, she'll take the long way around the block just to avoid walking past my house. The same woman who used to stand at the end of my driveway with her arms crossed, ready to lecture me, now scurries away like she's seen a ghost. Here's the thing. People like Karen think rules are weapons they can use to control others. But when those same rules are applied fairly, they often find themselves caught in the very trap they set for others. And in this case, she learned that calling 911 as a weapon against your neighbors isn't just petty. It's dangerous. So the next time someone tries to push you around with false authority, remember this. Stand your ground, know your rights, and document everything. Because nothing shuts down a bully faster than the truth, especially when it's backed up by hard evidence and, in my case, a badge. Subscribe to HOA Warzone, where every petty rule, outrageous fine, and HOA power trip gets exposed for the world to see.